All right, so today we're going to be taking a look at finding a slope We're going to look at it a couple different ways. So first thing written there is, it just looks like a triangle symbol, which is what it is. A Greek symbol for delta, delta y over delta x. The Greek symbol delta just stands for change. So essentially that just states our change in y values over our change in x values. And then also, when we start looking at graphs, the phrase rise over run, okay, will come in handy a lot. All of them mean the same thing. First, we'll take a look at when we are given a table. So again, this is only going to work if it's a linear equation. If it's a different type of graph, we're not going to be able to find a slope. Okay, so it's only for straight lines. So if we're given a table, we're just essentially looking for what is happening to our x values. Okay, as we go down the line, pretty simple here. +1, +1, +1, +1, +1. Okay, so our change in x values, which goes on the bottom, is 1. Our change in y values are going to go on top. So we do the same thing. We're looking for what are we doing each time? We are adding 5. So +5 across the board on the table. That's our change in y values. So our slope for this specific graph or this specific table would just be 5. So again, real important that we remember the y values go on top, x values go on bottom. Definitely the biggest mistake I see from time to time. And we know it's a straight line because all the points, if this went like +5 and then +6, okay, that's not going to give you a straight line. So we couldn't find the slope if that was the case. So it's important that you're adding the same amount each time for the X's and the Y's. A little bit different here because our X values are increasing by 2. Our Y values are then increasing by 3. So we'd have a slope of 3/2. Again, a little different on this one. As we increase in our X values, we're increasing by 1. Okay, but notice what is happening with our Y values. They are not increasing, they are decreasing. So as we go from 1 to the next, 15 to 12, we subtract 3, subtract 3, subtract 3, subtract 3. So we have to put the -3 in front. So make sure it's a negative. Which would give us a slope of -3. Usually what'll happen is you'll be given a graph and be asked to find the slope. So let's take a look at when you are given the graph. It'd be a little tough if you don't have graph paper, but I'll give you some points. Okay, so here we have a graph that goes through the points 0, 2, and 5, 5. So the easiest way to solve these are by making what we refer to as a slope triangle. All right, so essentially you're just going to make a right triangle, okay, from one point to the next. And the reason we do that is so that we can determine what is our change in y values and what is our change in x values. So our change in y values is we are going up 1, 2, 3. And our change in x values is going to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just like when we had a table, change in y values divided by our change in x values means we have a slope of 3/5. Points at 2, 1. The other one, 5. We got points here at 2, 1 and 5, 7. So another easy way to do it, and essentially it's the same thing that we talked about on first page here, but the rise over run. So easiest way to do it is how much are you rising from one point to the next and then running over. So here we rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we run 1, 2, 3. So again, this is our rise. This is our run. Notice all we really did was just make another slope triangle. It's the same thing. Okay, but to go from one point to the next, how much are you going up? Okay, and how much are you running over? take a look at a couple different examples or a couple different scenarios. This point is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. -2, 4, and 4, -2 for those 2 points. Okay, so we can do the same thing. I'm rising up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, but what am I doing differently this time? I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. Okay, so if I'm going to the left on the x-axis, what am I doing? I'm decreasing. So that has to be a -6. So my change in y values was 6. My change in x values was -6. So I get a slope of -1. Okay, it's also important to note, it doesn't matter which side you make your slope triangle on, or you do your rise over run. Okay, because even if I do it on this side, as I'm going down on the y-axis, I do -6. Now I'm going back to the right, so that gives me a +6. So I'm still decreasing and then moving over. So it's still -6 over 6, which would still give me -1. Okay, take a look at 2 kind of odd examples. First one being a straight vertical line, goes straight up and down. Second one being a horizontal line, going straight left and right. Okay, so on the first one here, my change in y values, even if I just use these 2 points, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my change in X values, did they change at all? They did not. So I get a 0. Can you divide by 0? You cannot. Okay, so what we state here is that this is undefined. Okay, because you cannot divide by 0. So anytime you have a vertical line like this, the slope is undefined. Okay, on the flip side, we have a straight horizontal line. So my change in Y values are actually 0. My change in X values doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3. Okay, so anytime you have 0 in the numerator up top, your answer is just 0. Okay, so two different end results there. A straight vertical line, the slope is undefined. A straight horizontal line, like in the second one, has a slope of 0. Okay, they are not the same thing. They are two different results, two different meanings.